No matter how heavy the backspin is, I can lift it with my forearm and land it right on the table. Today, we're going to teach serve-receive. Today's lesson will focus on the serves that give amateur players the most trouble. For example, the serve to the short backhand corner. Also, the half-long serve to the middle. And the half-long serve to the forehand. First, let's discuss the short ball to the backhand corner and how to handle it with a push. Should I use the first pushing technique? Or the second? The first technique goes with the spin, whereas the second technique often causes the ball to hit the net. If you use the second method, you will frequently hit the net. As long as I use the first method, I'm less affected by the spin, no matter how heavy it is. First key point, against a left side spin, slightly adjust your racket angle and brush the right side of the ball. Second, because it's a serve to the sideline, you must slow down your timing when you push, don't be too rushed. The reason we get caught by the spin is that our timing is too fast. Wait for the ball to come to you and slow down your timing. When handling a short corner ball, whether you hit, loop, or push, you must not rush the contact point. To handle this ball, step in with your left foot. Many people incorrectly step in with their right foot, like a chopper. Second point, keep your racket hand in front of your body, not too close. This differs from a normal push where your hand is closer. When dealing with a short corner ball, your hand must be out in front. This push is actually simple, just brush the right side of the ball. Slow your timing, and step in fully with your left foot. You should return it consistently. When pushing, however, be mindful of placement. Avoid pushing to their forehand, as their cross-court loop angle will be too wide. You can return it to their backhand side, which allows for better control of the rally. You get attacked when your push is too high, too slow, or has no spin. If you keep the ball's trajectory low, they usually won't attack it directly. Next, let's discuss looping this serve. Let me demonstrate. Let me share my approach to backhand looping backspin serves to the sideline or fast serves. The reason many players struggle with their backhand loop is that they start their stroke too early. They misjudge the distance to the ball, causing them to reach. For instance, if I start my motion too early and don't wait for the ball, it's very easy to get caught by the spin. The missed shot and the successful one used the exact same technique. The only difference was the timing. My feeling is that often, the stroke is already fully extended before the ball arrives. This means you're contacting the ball at the end of your motion, making it hard to counteract the spin. However, my backhand timing is precise. I don't let the ball jam me. And I make contact as it enters my strike zone, using its momentum to help cancel the spin. If you slow down your timing and let the ball come to you, you can engage it with proper force. If the serve is very fast, I use a smaller motion. Use its pace, get low, and apply a quick brush. If you want to loop a sidespin backspin serve to the sideline, you must let the ball get closer to your body before looping. It makes the shot much easier. Second, a key principle for all backhand shots: the more spin on the ball, the smaller your motion should be. The farther you are from the table, the bigger your stroke; the closer you are, the smaller your stroke. Many players can't lift the ball when looping from the sideline because their contact isn't focused. The closer you are to the table, the more compact your stroke must be to generate a good brush. Third, which direction offers the highest consistency for your loop: backhand, middle, or forehand? If I use the same brush and loop towards the backhand, the ball goes into the net because I'm going with the spin's direction. But if I aim for the middle, it lands on the table easily. So, when my opponent serves to my short backhand, I aim every loop towards the middle. Looping to the backhand is too tricky with the spin. If I misjudge it, especially at a crucial point like 9-9, I could lose the game. This is unlike a push, where you contact underneath the ball and can get it over regardless of the spin. But with a loop, you have to create the arc yourself, so you must be very precise. Returning a serve to the same side it came from is safer. By looping to the middle, I avoid the backhand corner where the spin's effect is strongest. Third, let's talk about sidespin topspin. Sidespin topspin is comparatively easier to return. There's no difference in footwork when returning sidespin topspin versus sidespin backspin. Once in position, watch out for one thing with sidespin topspin. Most amateur serves are actually low spin or no spin. Against this serve, if you hit it flat, it goes into the net, and if you push it, the ball pops up. This low spin serve is very common at the amateur level. Few can serve a true, fast sidespin topspin to this spot. So how do you handle this? I'll teach you a secret weapon that works from various positions. The first method is to use a backhand rip. For example, against this serve, if I use the rip technique, I can handle it whether it has spin or not. But what if you can't rip well, your brush is inconsistent, you keep getting jammed, or you feel a downward pull on your racket when you hit it? In this case, you must use your forearm to push forward and upward. This will help you get the ball over the net. You're essentially using your forearm to create the arc instead of brushing the ball. It's the same for long serves. Most amateurs can't generate enough backhand brush, so it's better to lift the ball with your forearm, as it's likely a low spin serve. For a low spin serve to your backhand baseline, hitting it flat will often cause it to go into the net. With this type of ball, even without brushing, I use my forearm to create the trajectory, which at least gets the ball on the table. Use your forearm to create the arc, don't just punch straight forward. Lift upwards a bit. If you try to use a standard backhand drive, you'll hit the net almost every time. You can lift any kind of ball with this method, even one with heavy spin. Let me demonstrate. This is my secret weapon from when I struggled with my backhand brush. I'll handle a very fast, heavy backspin serve. This ball has a lot of spin. Let me lift it for you. This is a technique that takes many years of practice. However, the ball I lift over this way is dead, it has no spin. I've only converted backspin to topspin. This is why you must learn a proper loop. Sometimes when we try to loop, we get jammed, our brush is wrong, weak, or unfocused, and we become vulnerable to the spin. But you can lift even the heaviest spin using this method. Just like when I was hitting against heavy backspin the other day, against that very sharp, chopped serve, I just lift it with my forearm and it goes right on the table. Among our students, almost all of them use this half drive, half loop backhand instead of a proper rip. So when you're out of options, this is a very effective method. It's especially practical for serve-receive because you can use the opponent's pace, which is better than simply pushing the ball back. Now, let's address the half-long ball to the middle. It's usually sidespin backspin. Do you normally just push it? I'll teach you to loop it. The best way to attack this ball is with your forehand. After stepping around to loop it, follow up by placing your next shot to either corner, and they generally can't defend it. But don't always loop to the same spot. Some ask why you can't use your backhand. Because the left side spin breaks away, your backhand can easily slip on the ball. That's why for half-long or short balls to the middle, I usually use my forehand for a higher quality shot. Let's break down how to return this serve. Earlier, I moved in advance because I anticipated the serve to the middle. Normally, amateurs often default to this stance. If the opponent serves to your middle, your first move is to turn your body sideways to make space. This step requires both feet to move at the same time. After turning, if the ball is a shorter, half-long serve, should you step in with your left foot or your right foot? I'll demonstrate both footwork patterns. First, stepping with the right foot, and then with the left. You'll see the answer for yourself. You might ask, can't I just get there in one step? The answer is no. Because the depth of a half-long ball is uncertain, using a single step might cause you to get jammed or be out of position. So for a half-long ball, it must be a two-step footwork, whereas a long ball is just one step. For a long serve, I can just turn my body and loop it directly. A long serve is one step of footwork. A half-long serve requires you to first turn and then step in, making it two steps. Second point, you need to learn to match your stroke path to the incoming trajectory of the ball. After a left side spin bounces, it kicks sideways. If my loop path follows that same trajectory, the shot becomes much easier. So, pay attention to my racket angle. You'll see a slight hooking motion with my wrist. If I use that same hooking motion against a right side spin, the more I hook, the more likely the ball will go into the net. My previous mistake was because I didn't brush with enough force. Normally, a skilled player can still make the shot. But for beginners, it's much better to loop in a way that works with the spin's direction. If the spin comes this way, I send it back along the same path. That's what I mean by matching the trajectory. If a right side spin comes this way, I send it back that way. For example, against a half-long right side spin, if I open my racket face slightly, it's very easy to loop. And for a left side spin, if I wrap around the ball a bit, it's easy to loop. If you frequently miss serves, it's almost certainly because you're hitting the back of the ball and lack the brushing ability to overcome the spin. Since most players are good at serving left side spin to your middle, you need to wrap your racket around the ball and brush its right side. This makes it much easier to create an arc. I turn, step in, and I can generate a powerful, high-quality shot. To handle a half-long serve to the middle, first, turn your body to make space, and if it's long, loop it directly. Second, after turning, step in with your left foot to loop. Pay attention to the contact point. Against left side spin, wrap your racket around the ball slightly. Don't use a flat, open face. If you loop a half-long ball with an open racket face, you'll get caught by the spin. If you wrap around it instead, the ball will go on the table. For advanced players, it doesn't matter. They can handle it from any contact point because their ball control is superior. But when you don't have that level of control, you must pay close attention to the point I just made. Next, let's discuss the half-long serve to the forehand. This is usually unintentional. The opponent tried to serve short and accidentally send it long. The best way to handle this ball is to take the initiative and attack it. Let me demonstrate. You must be able to attack balls on your forehand side. This will make returning long serves to your backhand much easier. If you can't threaten the short forehand, you'll be stretched wide, making your backhand vulnerable. So, you must practice attacking half-long balls all over the table. Because a half-long ball has little spin, doesn't kick, and isn't fast, it's the easiest type of serve to loop. Many players hesitate to loop this ball because they're afraid of hitting their hand on the table. Anytime you hit your hand, it's because you're pushing. A proper loop follows an outside arc, a semicircle. After the backswing, you won't hit your hand. If I start from here and make a semicircle, I can't hit my hand. You only hit your hand when you use a forehand drive with a straight forward and back motion. When you see a low backspin ball and still push forward, you'll hit the table. So, we first need to learn to create this arc in our stroke. With a smaller motion, as long as I follow this arc, I will never hit my hand. Even right against the table surface, I won't hit my hand because my stroke path is a small semicircle. Just never move in a straight line. Otherwise, you'll hit the table not just on half-long balls, but on any backspin loop. Second, for a half-long ball, you must loop close to it. For a long ball, you need to create space and use your body to generate power. When looping a half-long ball, get close and execute the shot right on top of it. A long ball requires more space because you want to engage its power. The reason many players miss the half-long loop is that as soon as the opponent serves it, they instinctively take a big backswing. I've seen advanced amateurs serve a great half-long ball that breaks sideways and skids low along the end line, giving you only a fraction of a second to react. This makes it impossible to loop right as it leaves the table, forcing you to push instead. Advanced players are typically best at serving this kind of sidespin topspin. I often use my hook serve to bait opponents with a delivery that drops right on the edge of the baseline. You can't loop it, you can only push. Your push pops up, allowing them to attack the next ball. You can't push this ball long and fast. If you apply any force, it will fly off the table. To handle this ball, your hand must already be where the ball will be. If you pull back for a backswing, the ball will have already dropped too low. I must keep my hand at the ball's position. The closer I am to the ball, the easier it is to loop. So, to loop a half-long serve, as soon as it's served, keep your backswing compact and close to the table. Do not pull your arm back. The timing is instantaneous. The The serve itself has little spin, so if you can just find the right timing, you'll be much more successful. The most common landing spot for the first bounce of a half-long serve is this area of the opponent's side of the table. Furthermore, most competition tables are quite slick, unlike new tables with a matte finish, which makes it even easier for the ball to come off the end of the table.